And I'll trim the beginning. I know it's recording now, but I'll just trim that out. So, good afternoon. My name is Keena Thomas. Right now, I'm at the beautiful home of David Oros, who is an entrepreneur. He successfully deployed numerous high-tech businesses over the past 30 years. He's also a managing partner at Gamma 3, a fund that identifies and invests in innovative technologies in the Baltimore area. Thank you, David, for your time.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. So my first question is, how did you get started?
How did I get started? In investing, basically, I went to work for a company, large company, Westinghouse, and I was an engineer there. And during that time, I really realized that I liked the idea of developing new technologies. Then from there, I started spinning companies out of Westinghouse, decided I wanted to do some companies on my own, did some tech companies, and then as I got older, decided I had run enough companies and transitioned to investing in companies and helping young entrepreneurs do what I did during my life.
Great. Okay. So what would you say your sweet spot is as far as investment size and focus?
I'm definitely focused on pure startups, which most people aren't.
Yeah.
The best thing for me is to find 2 or 3 really good people with an idea and start a company.
Okay.
Not invest in a company with 6 or 7 other investors in a company that's 4 or 5 years in.
Yeah.
I like the pure startup. Now, the startup could be a small company that's been in business for like a year and developed some intellectual property that is now in the fundraising mode.
Okay.
But I'd like to be the first investor in and really help and work with the company.
All right, great.
Yep.
So why Baltimore?
Why Baltimore? I was born in Baltimore, live in Baltimore, and dedicated to Baltimore. So my new fund, Gamma, is only focusing in companies in Baltimore City that are going to create high-tech jobs in Baltimore City.
Okay, great. Any lessons learned or funny stories that you'd like to share?
Lessons learned. Lessons learned. Well, I would say startups are the hardest companies to invest in because you have the most risk. You have to develop the product. You have to develop the intellectual property. You have to get the financing right. And most importantly, the highest risk is develop the right team.
Okay.
So a lot of times you can start off with a great idea, but the team in itself doesn't gel or you don't have the right leader.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of lessons learned in how to identify the right team, which I think is the most important to start with. Okay. And then work with the products as they go along. Funny stories, there's probably, I would have to talk for 40 hours on the funny stories. And I just love working with entrepreneurs. I am an entrepreneur, and I find it very, very rewarding.
Okay, great. Then lastly, my last question, how could one like myself break into the field?
I think it's the key thing early on is I worked for a large company for 10 years, and in that company, I actually worked in all the different branches. So I was an engineer, but then I went to marketing, then I went to finance. And to be an entrepreneur, you really have to understand not only the innovation and creation of a product, but you have to understand the support structure. So you have to understand the finance behind it. You have to understand how to distribute a product. You have to understand how to build a team. And I think what I tell a lot of young entrepreneurs or people coming out of school is go work for a startup, a company, but work somewhere where you can bounce around and learn all the different attributes. Then there's plenty of time to innovate and come up with a product. And once you've done work for somewhere for like 6 years, then start developing the concept of identifying a whole niche in the market that you could go after with a product, and then start trying to build a team. The other strong piece of advice I'll give you is I probably started 30 or 40 companies.
Yeah.
Many of them fail.
Yeah.
And you really have to be hardened and be ready for them to fail and go in with it with the idea that you're going to be successful, but if it fails, you're going to get right up and try it again.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, David.
You're welcome very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
How was that?
That's perfect.
That's terrific.